How did you come to pick this project?
It kind of picked me.
Your next project.
It kind of picked me. My friend Laura, who was in development at the CW, called me one day and was like, "How do you feel about Roswell?" And I was like, "Pretty good." And she was like, "You want to be involved in this reboot?" And I was like, "No, thanks." I didn't. I had just done 5 seasons on the originals, and I kind of wanted to do something. Honestly, I wanted to do something political. I was feeling a lot of feelings, and just had kind of felt like I had written about supernatural romance enough, and then. But I did owe Warner Brothers a pilot as part of a deal. So I went in and I pitched them the version that I would want to do, which was super political, had, everybody was adults, and had a woman of color as the lead. And I honestly thought that they were going to be like, "Thank you so much, we're going to go with somebody who wants to do a high school show." But they bought it at the tables, and they've been super supportive of how political it is and everything. So it's been really good.
But how political it is? But how?
It's pretty. I mean, I think it's as political as our daily lives are right now. I think that people are calling it a very political show, but I don't think it's. I think it's reflective of our time. We've got a police officer, and we've got a scientist, and these are professions that are really affected by the sort of, the administration and the politics and the direction that our country is going. And so, as much as they would be affected in their daily lives by politics, they are on the show.
Will you touch on any of the immigration issues or things like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much, the show is less about immigration issues and more, it includes characters that are immigrants. We have 2 families of Mexican descent on our show in the little town of Roswell, New Mexico. One of them is a family of legal immigrants that has been in Roswell for many decades, and one of them is a family that immigrated recently, and the parents are undocumented. So there are sort of different stories that are involved there, and the aliens are a bit of a metaphor for a different sort of immigrant story. But it's not the story that we're telling in every episode. It's just sort of flavors these characters' lives. As a Latina woman, Liz is very aware of what she represents, and what challenges she faces that maybe other people don't face. But that doesn't mean that that's something that she's worried about every single second of every single day.
How much did you sort of look at the books and the old series as well?
I didn't look at the old series very much at all. I watched it when I was a kid, and I loved it, but I didn't really want to go. I wanted to start fresh. I mean, I've rewatched the pilot, and I've rewatched a few things since. But I mostly, I took the books as a very, very loose guideline for the characters. So I looked at what my favorite pieces of these characters were, and then I thought about who they would be 10 years from now. If you are looking for an adaptation of the books, you're not going to get it. And if you're looking for a reboot of the show, you're not really going to get that either. What I tried to take was the heart of it and the core pieces of these characters and what makes them who they are, and then reimagine it, not just in a 2018 world, but also just as a story that I wanted to tell with characters that are significantly darker, significantly more burdened, but
and more current as well,
more current. Yeah, I mean, listen, the original show was a cast of white people. I didn't want to make that show in 2018. So we've got a really diverse cast. We're telling really diverse stories. Nobody was cast colorblind. We cast people of different races with the intent of telling their stories. And it doesn't mean that we're telling all of those stories at once in the first handful of episodes, but we we are telling specific stories to different races, different genders, different sexualities, and different planets.
Can you tease anything about the planets or or the aliens, or how much fun has it been sort of adapting their look?
It's been really fun playing with the aliens. Our aliens have different kinds of powers than the aliens that you were familiar with on the other show. The one consistent thing is that Max can heal. He's got a healing handprint. So the catalyst for the story, which is Liz getting shot and Max healing her, is the same. After that, everything spirals out of control. There is a murder mystery at the center of our story, a small town murder mystery that was really just inspired for me by, I love all the true crime stuff, and I love the podcasts and stuff. So I wanted to challenge myself to tell a murder story, and it's been a challenge. The aliens they each have individual powers. They can't all do the same thing. They have different skill levels. Some of them have more control of themselves than others. The aliens the prototypes are the same. So Max is sort of this very moral, or apparently very moral, very decent, romantic. I mean, he's been in love with this girl for his entire life, and she's been gone for 10 years, and he's still loved her every single day of that 10 years. Michael is the bad boy. He grew up in foster care, and he is a product of a very abusive childhood. But he has a heart of gold and a smart mouth. And Isabel is the sort of reformed mean girl, we call her. She's somebody who is very concerned with how she appears to the world, and part of that is because she has a deep secret, and part of that is because she's a fancy lady who is stuck in a small town. So the prototypes are the same. The codependent relationship that they have with each other is a real part of our show. These people are very, entangled in a sort of deep and unhealthy way.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, because you're shooting this on location, and previously you were working on a show where it was pretty much in the middle of a lot of other shows, and now you're kind of isolated. How is that affecting the work process?
I mean, we shot the pilot in Albuquerque in March, and me and the cast and Julie Pleck, who directed the pilot, became really close. I mean, we were having family dinners all week long. It doesn't feel that different from shooting in Atlanta, because in Atlanta it was kind of like family dinners a lot, and we'd wrap and we'd all be like, where are you, what are you doing? And we kind of all really became a family very quickly. I mean, some of us were family already. We have cast members from the originals and the Vampire Diaries who I've worked with for a million years and who I love, who really sort of became the foundation of a new team. But we love Santa Fe. We're not feeling lonely out there. We really are having a good time in sort of the land of the cowboys. I will say shooting on location is challenging because the weather out there is insane. There's a thunderstorm every day. But at least we have cool people to take cover with.
And what does Julie Pleck add to the first episode?
Julie directing was phenomenal. She had worked with a lot of the actors before. She's really, she taught me everything I know. So we really connected and really had the same idea for the characters and idea for these emotional moments. She did a beautiful job. I'm so excited for you guys to see it because it's just so cinematic and it just feels epic. It feels like the next step for what her career has been, which is telling these great romantic stories with a twist. And she's she's kind of like the mama bear of the group, though I don't want to make her feel old, because she's not. She's definitely the coolest one of all of us, but she made us feel very very protected and very safe, and it was really fun to like. She's also one of my best friends, so it was really fun to like at the end of the day, we lived together during the pilot. It was really fun to sort of like go home at 5 a.m. and be like, should we open a bottle of wine and talk about what just happened? And we did, yeah. So it's been really fun.
Is there anything in the first episodes or a moment that you really can't wait for the fans to see, and you feel is like just integral to the story?
I mean, I think that a lot of it is in the some of it's in the trailer. But there's a moment between Liz and Max that I think just on the side of a mountain where he shows her sort of some of his memories of her that I think is just really beautiful, and there's something really special about seeing yourself through the eyes of someone that loves you that she gets to do in the first episode that warms my heart.
Okay.